And that's how the theme song goes. Hi. Hey there. Hey there. Hello. Hi. Welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast, episode 30. If you didn't know, this is the premiere podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Yeah, guess what? That's the website. Go there. You'll hear about it in the plugs. Well, let's get right to it, guys. I got a job interview later on today. Very excited. Hopefully I get this. Make some cashish and leave the state of Georgia and never come back at some point. Uh, so yeah, I got that going on for me. That's pretty much it. I'm in this weird gestating period where I am on the last week of one of my current jobs, and the other job is still going strong. And then now they're both part time. And then I got this new job. Hopefully, it's a little bit slower, a little bit more boring, but stable, and I can pay bills. So hopefully, something good comes of that. But let's get right into it. Okay. So, I want to hurry up and rush through these small auxiliary topics. Okay, so last week was a premiere. No, was it last week or the week before? Anyway, one of these weeks was a premiere of Joker's Wild, Snoop Dogg's Joker's Wild. That's a remake of a show. It's supposed to be a comedy game show, and now Snoop Dogg is hosting it, and he puts his own little weed spin on it. Jesus. every if you don't get what I'm saying, every other thing he says is something about weed, and it's really annoying. So anyway, so the show is harmless enough. It's got one of the ladies from, I guess, a daytime talk show, The Real. I think that's what it was. I should actually look this up. Joker's Wild, but it's and so two contestants come on. They have the co-hosts spin the wheel, and then they get a chance to answer some questions from one of these mini categories. So, and then sometimes there can be famous people asking the questions, but over video. So, and I assume this is shot in LA. So anyway, so now this new show, Snoop Dogg presents Joker's Wild. It's got Snoopy, and it's on TBS. I'm trying to find who this woman is. Who is his coworker? Who's his co-host? His coworker. His co-host is, why is it not on IMDb? It's Ginny Mai, who just recently had a divorce, according to her Instagram. Not that I snooped, but I did. Anyway, and so now we have Snoop Dogg kind of in this host category, and so now I think he's doing a fine job. It's okay. It's not the greatest series in the world, but I never really expected it to have that type of quality about itself. So it's a fine show. Watch it or don't, doesn't matter. I mean, I probably won't watch another episode ever again. But that first episode had one of the most gung-ho. I understand that to be on a show, you got to have a type of personality. So you're either wild and crazy, or you've got some type of strange attractive charm to yourself. So one of the contestants was way too into it for a 22-minute show. So I need you to calm down there, boy. And then after that, TBS also, this is on the same night, on Tuesday nights, 10 o'clock, 10:30, right? In 2017, fall 2017. We got Drop the Mic following that. Drop the Mic, it was created by Jensen Karp, rapper / comedian. I think he's more of a comedian podcaster now than he was a rapper. But he does know a lot about music. He worked on what's that show? The Late Late Show with James Corden, and this is a spinoff of that show. This is another spinoff of that show. Jesus, James Corden has he's revamped the Late Late Show into something that can be put out there. And so now we've got Drop the Mic. Now we've got what is that show on Spike? The Paramount Network. I'm sorry. Next few months, Paramount Network. What is that show that Jimmy Fallon created? Lip Sync Battle. So Lip Sync Battle, we got that. We got Drop the Mic. Except Drop the Mic is wholly original. Lip Sync Battle is just people lip syncing over these songs. So got both of those shows. I have not seen Drop the Mic. The second episode comes on tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Today's Monday. Tonight, the day this episode comes out, comes on tonight. I don't know who's on it. I don't care who's on it. I actually thought about checking, but I'm not. It doesn't matter. And I assume it's gonna be just like the drop the mics on the Late Late Show. It's just going to be not James Corden. It's going to be famous people like I know the promos. Whenever I watch Conan, I see the promos because I watch Conan every week, every day of my life. He's such a great guy. The promos had Niecy Nash and Cedric the Entertainer. So there's one pairing. And then Cedric said something about Niecy not being famous enough. And I thought, really, Cedric? She's definitely up there right now. I guess, I don't know. They're going to have other people. I might as well just check. And apparently there's a lot of writers on that show, just like there are. And I know, I think, I shouldn't tap on the table. Should not do that. Who is on, there's a comedian, there's a female comedian who I know writes on that show. Anyway, so Rob Gronkowski is battled Gina Rodriguez, and I guess that's a strange. I don't know. I would choose, if I was going to choose Gina Rodriguez, I would go with Rachel Bloom. They're both on CW. They both have similar shows, and you can make fun of those shows. Haley Baldwin's a co-host. Method Man hosts it, which is great. So Anthony Anderson, Halle Berry, James Corden performed, of course, and Usher was on there. This is all IMDb telling me. Josh Silverstein, I think. Okay. And God, there's Eliza Skinner. That's who it was. Eliza Skinner is on that show, writing on that show, I believe. I don't know if she's still there, but when I was listening to her on Never Not Funny, the podcast, she mentioned working on that show. So there we go. That show, I guess, is already out, has started. I don't know. Who cares? None of this matters. None of this matters anymore. I'm very mad about, you know what? Let's just move on to, okay, what does it say? I'm looking at my notes right now. I like I said, I know I've said this in episodes before. I have notes. I got notes that I write down throughout the week of things I want to talk about. And so I'm looking at my notes right now and I'm trying to double up. Oh, I was writing. So this is what happens. I typically write for news time. I get an idea pretty much either the week of or a couple of weeks before, or maybe the day of that I write the news time script. And I usually write it on a Thursday day, and then I edit it and do all that stuff. And then Thursday night I shoot it because I can't do it on Friday mornings because the sun is too bright. So maybe, since we turned the hour back, since we turned the clock back, maybe I could be able to do it. Anyway, so I have the episode usually shot and done on Thursday night, and I got word of a story. It was about anyway. I always get words of stories, and I always so anyway. I started writing this past Thursday, the news time that's supposed to come out that I'm shooting this coming Thursday for next Monday. And I started, and I thought I thought the event was happening on Saturday. This is why I'm writing. I'm writing about an event. And then I thought, then I kept checking, and I said, no, it's not. And then now I have half of this news time written, and I had to start over after spending about maybe 20, 30 minutes on one news time to write another news time. Very strange. Doesn't matter. All right. I'm looking at my notes. It says, okay. No, I don't know what that means. All right, here's what my notes say. It says saving movie/sports/concert tickets and remembering the people you were with. Oh. Oh my God. Okay, I know what this is. All right, so a very long time ago, several years ago, I think maybe freshman year in high school, maybe sophomore year. I don't know if the years. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I started saving sports tickets and movie tickets and concert tickets. This means nothing to nobody, but I put them in this metal container that used to house a watch that I used to have. I wonder what happened to that watch. I probably threw it away because it was a watch that wasn't nice, a good watch. So anyway, so every movie I've gone to, every concert, every sporting event I've ever gone to in the past, that was about 10 years ago. 10 years, wow. 10 years I have saved, not recycled, not thrown away, saved and put them in this thing. Even when I was at school and I didn't have the metal thing with me, I put them in a bag, I believe, like a clear plastic bag, and I saved them. And now I have all of these different tickets and stuff. And I eventually, what I'm planning on doing is getting a big white poster board, and I'm just gonna tape them and glue them on there, and they'll just be like my memory screen or whatever. So I don't know when I'm gonna do that, but it's been 10 years, so I should probably start getting on that right now, because I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. It's gonna be, I don't know how long I'm gonna do it for. Anyway, so I was looking through it, and I saw a bunch of tickets for movie, like just The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight, the same series. I looked at myself, the same series. There was one I took my friend. It was one of the first ones. My friend and I went to see Toy Story 3 with a couple of girls, and he was trying to date one of those girls. And I said, all right, dude, let's do this. So I had my mom drive us, and she dropped us off. And we went to this Toy Story 3 at Merchants Walk. And I still have the ticket. I know this is real. We saw on a Saturday night, I think at 7:25, Toy Story 3. And he sat next to this girl, and he really liked her. I think she was a couple years younger than us, or a year younger than us. A couple years. She'd be like 7th or 8th grade at that time. So she was a year younger than us. And long story short, they're married now. It's very true. Was not invited to the wedding. It's also very true. And this is what spurred this topic. I saw this ticket, and I was filled with rage because there is a highly publicized wedding on Instagram and Facebook. They did not invite me, and I set them up. I did that. How dare they? And I sent the ticket. I sent a picture of the ticket to a couple of friends, and I said, "This is the night. I have proof." I'm so mad. They could have at least acknowledged me just in their vows. Just, man, I'm glad Chad would set us up. And anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm glad they're happy. Whatever, dorks. One day they're gonna see me on television. They're gonna go, "Oh my God, he did invite us to a wedding." I'm gonna tell this story on Conan. It's so dumb. Okay, so anyway, that's what spurred it. So there we go. There's that story. But I just know that if we've ever gone somewhere together that involved a ticket or something, I do have the playbill from The King and I, so I might just rip off the front page to that. I think I do have the playbill, but I definitely do not have the ticket because I got that on SeatGeek, and I will. Maybe I'll print off the tickets for the other SeatGeek stuff I got, like the Mr. Wives and Father John Misty. Still a great deal on that ticket, $10. And then like the week of, it was $50-$60. So I saved a lot of money on Father John Misty. Had a good time. Had a great time. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so here's the final story, and I really need to hurry this up because I gotta leave for this interview. All right, so I hate to get a little bit somber, but this is just what happens in this industry. So there was a study that came out recently in the past week, I guess, obviously, and thank you to Meg Wright of Splitsider. Reading that great website is also, I do borrow some of the news from there, but I use their sources, whatever. But this is one of the great stories they had. A new study finds, this is from Meg Wright on Splitsider. New study finds that only 4.8% of TV writers are black. And that is, it's kind of it's very disheartening to somebody like me or just any other person out there, Hispanic, Muslim, I was going to say Jewish, but then I realized they run the entertainment industry. The Jews, please hire me. And it's something that really is not talked about often. You do have shows that just hire females just outright and people of color and stuff like that. But when you look, so here are the parameters of the story. I've done it on News Time. So if you watch News Time, you can get a bit dumbed down version of this, but I'm going to get a little bit high class for you guys. So the report is produced by Color of Change and Darnell Hunt of UCLA. He is an African American Studies professor, social, and he does a lot of stuff. And so the report is called, if you want to look this up, double check my numbers, Race in the Writer's Room. But even though I was the one who not did this, Race in the Writer's Room, how Hollywood whitewashes the stories that shape America. And so here's the rundown of what was found out. 91% of the showrunners are white. Showrunners are people who are essentially managers. Imagine you're a manager, and then that person has creative control over the show and not directing it, but directing the direction in which it goes is directed and everything. So 91% of showrunners are white, 5.1% of showrunners are black, 3.9% of showrunners are other people of color, 80% of the showrunners are men, 86% of the writers are white, 4.8% of the writers are black, 65.4% of the shows have no black writers, 69.1% of the shows with white showrunners have no black writers, 100% of shows with black showrunners have multiple white writers, 66.6% of shows with black showrunners have 5 or more black writers. And then here's a kicker. These last 4 are just they blow my mind. These are networks that have shows that have a lot of diverse cast members, a lot of diverse just regular producers. So here we go. AMC, TBS, and TNT have no women showrunners and no people of color showrunners. AMC, Showtime, and TBS have shows have 0 or 1 black writer total. 92% of CBS shows have 0 or 1 black show writer, and Hulu has no black writers. Okay, so let that sink in for a little bit. This study really keeps reiterating, and it really brings to light that there is a diversity issue in the entertainment industry. And it's not just women, it's not just with blacks, it's with everybody who's not a white guy, a white dude. And now I'm looking at these numbers again. Netflix, CBS, Amazon, the CW, 90% of their shows have 0 or 1 black writer. And that's insane. Netflix this is the thing that's supposed to save television. And they, just like MoviePass is supposed to save movies. Netflix is producing between 7 and 12 billion hours worth of crap within the next year. So I don't understand how you can have so many shows and then not have anyone who can be a good representation for a segment of people. It blows my mind. Netflix has more shows that are on it than any network, any cable network, any broadcast network that are currently on combined. It doesn't make sense to me, and I don't understand. I get the CW, but listen here, the CW. They only sampled 15 shows for CW. They have 2 women writers, 2+ women writers, 2+ non-black people of color writers, 2 black writers, and 0 black showrunners. With their female first shows, I don't understand how this is possible. So I guess that means that all of these new shows like Valor, I guess Jane the Virgin, old shows like Jane the Virgin, Supergirl, and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I think that's where they got. This is so strange because I don't understand how you can have these numbers with these female first shows. Like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend should just turn the tide for the CW, but I don't know if they even counted that. And then CBS shows have 2+ women writers, 2+ non-black people of color writers, 2 black writers, and 0 black showrunners. It is just, I don't understand. And a lot of these networks, a lot of these shows are on the networks are shows, like I said, for CW, female first. And then you've got some shows on, like the Detroiters on Comedy Central, Detroiters, and I guess if Key and Peele was still on, but I can't think of any other. The Daily Show, Trevor Noah's black. The Nightly Show, when it was on, it would definitely turn the tide. And speaking of Nightly Show, when that went away, we lost 4 black women showrunners, writers, which is insane. There were only 8 women of color. All right. So that means any race, period, that's not white. 8 women of color that were writers in late night out of 155. And this was done last year, September 2016. So please, those are those numbers for that time. They might have changed, but they're not changed drastically. And if you take a look at the writers for the Colbert Show, for the Late Show, which is the Colbert Show, Stephen brought along all of his writers from the Colbert Show, who were even then 50-year-old white men and 1 or 2 women. It's insane. All right, so now let's take a look at this. So for the Netflix shows they examined, they looked at 36 shows. That is the most shows out of everybody. All right, so they took a look at 36 shows. Okay, that's okay. Let's keep going. So they have 30 white showrunners and 26 men showrunners. All right. For CBS, same thing. 25 white showrunners, 21 men showrunners. ABC, 18 and 14. Amazon, 15 and 9. CBS, Fox, 21-19. HBO, 13-11. It's mind-boggling. It's crazy. And then another thing, these diversities, a lot of times if you are an entertainment person, you will see something called a diversity slot. Like NBC used to do this. They don't do it anymore. They were opening up diversity slots for young creative people like me who are basically unmanaged, but they usually end up going with people who have managers. It doesn't make sense to me, but they'll pick up people who are colored, people of color, and or women, and they give them these spots in these shows, allow them to write, and then now what we're learning is that these diversity slots don't go anywhere. So here's what Meg Wright writes. The study also argues that shows using so-called diversity slots to hire black writers is a failed approach, since the writers are often passed over for staff jobs later when another cheaper diversity hire can take their place instead. So you're essentially, if you get this slot, if you win, quote unquote, win this slot in a contest or something, then that's how it usually is. It's either a contest, you get a diversity slot to intern on the Tonight Show, or get a diversity slot to go on HBO's Green Room. I think that's what that show is called, and I've never watched that, so I know that show's over, and I know a lot of those people don't exist. So basically, you have these diversity slots for nothing. You're thrown away like a used razor, your safety razor. You're shaved with a couple times, and then they say, "Hey, we got this other guy coming in, and oh boy, is he a good writer?" And they'll do the exact same thing to them. So then she continues to write. The study refers to this approach by white showrunners as temporary window dressing to mask what would otherwise be racially homogenous rooms. It's just hearing stuff like that just should not make anyone feel good. It sucks, it blows, and there's nothing to do about it. I'm not saying just hire. Oh, and another thing, that when these shows with stereotypical black characters and all these essentially characters that aren't what a real person of color would act like, they're just big thuggish cartoonish people in a grounded comedy, then those shows typically have a majority or all white writers room. So yeah, it's kind of like I know Hari Kondabolu is, I don't know if I pronounced his last name right, is working on a documentary about Apu from The Simpsons, and it's done by Hank Azaria. Hank Azaria is a white guy. He's been doing this for 30 years, and how Apu is essentially a caricature of the Indian faith, and it's kind of embarrassing. Not kind of, it's very embarrassing. So we have that to contend with, but it's something that. This is not a good look for television for you. And then I guarantee we'll hear networks want it. Like, it'll be a story. If you follow the entertainment news deeply, you'll hear a story on, this is broken by the Hollywood Reporter, by the way. So they got this. So Hollywood Reporter had interviewed Rashad Robinson of Color of Change and Darnell Hunt from UCLA, and they talked about this stuff. But we're going to hear from the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and Variety and The Wrap, and it's going to be now Hulu is looking for younger, darker writers and show creators and blah, blah, blah. And then those shows aren't really going to be made. I mean, you can say you're doing these things, but there's going to be a point where people are going to start calling you on it, and Hulu has difficult people, and The Handmaid's Tale. I understand that they only have a handful of shows, but a show like Difficult People that's supposed to represent everybody that Julie Klausner, just the women and gays, and that's basically who it is. So I assume that's where the majority of their diversity comes from. But I don't know. It's just, this is so dumb. I don't know why we're still doing this. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I can name 10 different young comedians out there who should have their own show, who should be working a lot more, and they're not, and they're just sitting on podcasts. Not talking about myself. They're sitting on podcasts, not wasting away. And they're sitting in shows from canceled streaming networks from NBC. I'm really leaning into one area. So there's Carl Tart and Tawny Newsome. I tweeted Jordan Black. I tweeted Kulop Vulisak, who I was trying to say they a long time ago when CISO was told to be dead, and it did die. Kulop and everybody there started at not everybody there, everybody at Bajillion Dollar Properties started a hashtag called buy Bajillion or buy Jillion. Why did I make it two words? Buy Jillion. Anyway, long story short, I tweeted Hulu after finding this out. I tweeted Hulu, Tawny Newsome, and Kulop Vulisak, who are two of those people are part of this show. But Hulu, I said, get this person of color. That's not verbatim what I said, but get this person of color, and so you can finally have a person of darker skin tone doing this stuff. Kulop is from Laos. She's Laotian. I don't understand how you can still be in this day and age and not have. Just buy the show, Hulu. You have money. You're made up of 3 different networks, and I don't know where the money comes from. Obviously ads, but just buy the show. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully we can get to a point where this isn't an issue anymore, but it still is. You know, if Ava DuVernay was the first woman to helm or was that Patty Jenkins? Patty Jenkins was the first woman. No, Ava DuVernay, because she got the Disney movie. I don't know. Ava DuVernay and Patty Jenkins, first women to helm these triple number. Let me correct myself before I make an idiot, which I do all the time. Ava DuVernay. Is Ava DuVernay a lesbian? I didn't know that. And Ava DuVernay's in the news all the time. Always A Wrinkle in Time. That's what I was talking about. Yes, she's the first one to helm a live action film with a budget of $100 million or more. So, and then Patty Jenkins was the first woman to have a movie to gross a lot of money. But Ava DuVernay is I'm gonna stop saying her name. She's in the news all the time, and so is Patty Jenkins, talking about now I'm looking at this article from People from 3 days ago called "The Lack of Directors Who Are Women and People of Color is Intentional." And so we have all of these different avenues. We got YouTube, we got Crackle, everything from YouTube to Crackle to Netflix to still on cable TV to whatever to CBS's streaming service. We have all these different things, and every time we always land on the same exact thing, which is hire some white guy that went to Harvard or some Jewish guy who knows Stephen Colbert, and they get the job, and that's it. And it just doesn't make sense to me how we can't sustain something like this, because people want different voices. They're eventually gonna want the Zeke Nicholsons, and I was trying to remember his name was a long time ago. So they want the Zeke Nicholsons, they want the Cameron Espositos. I'll get off people who are also not on Take My Wife. They want the Drew Tarvers. No, wait, he's a white guy. Why did I do that? I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. But they want the Kulop Vulisaks. They want the Reggie Watts. They want everybody who's not part of the norm. So we can make it the norm, and then we can move along and make these great things. You know? Anyway. No, it really pisses me off, and it just doesn't make sense. I don't understand. This is why this is why I love Full Frontal. Full Frontal is probably my favorite late night show right now. Sam B, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before after 30 episodes. Of course I have. They do blind hiring. They did blind hiring. So what that means is people send in their resumes. I assume the resume for a TV show. They send in their resumes and their pitches and a whole packet. And they send in the whole packet with jokes and topical stuff like that. And then they're able to pick from that. without their names on it, without their addresses, without their credits and stuff like that. And then they chose their staff and cast from there. So they got Ashley Nicole Black. They got other people whose names I don't know. They got the British chick from what's that show on the BBC? I guess it's over now. Anyway, doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me. Anyway, we're going over time, and I gotta get ready for this interview. Wish me luck. And I'm gonna end the show right now with, if you like this show, okay. And favorite comedians of all time. I can't do this person right now. I'll do this person next week. I will think of somebody else. I will say, you know what? I'm gonna go with Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes is a hilarious woman. Did I do Wanda Sykes already? Oh, jeez. Oh my God. Okay. Let's go. I'll go with Reggie Watts. Somebody I mentioned today. Reggie Watts, fantastic guy. He's got great hair. He's really buff right now. He lost a lot of weight. I don't know what happened in his life to spur that, but he looks great. He's on a Late Late Show right now. He was on Comedy Bang Bang, the TV show, before that ended on IFC. But he makes a lot of insane out there music, and most of it's improv, and he does great stage shows, and he's a very funny guy. And if you don't know who he is, you don't know who Reggie Watts is, then you don't know what good comedy music is. I don't know. Reggie Watts is great, but I really like him. But I'll do this next person next week because he has a lot of shows I really want to talk about. So if you like the show, speaking of shows, if you like the show, you can always go to the website, www.http://www.cpluscomedy.com for the latest news, reviews, features, interviews, and other good comedy bits that only I can provide you with. You can follow us on Twitter at @cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter at @ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/cpluscomedy to watch our premiere show, News Time, the premiere video show, the show that has more episodes than this show. Times, I think, 3. Yeah, times 3 plus. No, times 4. Oh my God, times 5. Times 5? No, that can't be true. What's 5 times 3? Oh my God, 150. Yeah, that is true. I'm looking at this TV right across from me. It's black, and I'm looking dead into my eyes. And yeah, it's times 5. Anyway, okay, go watch it. This week's episode talks more about this writer thing, and also MoviePass is back in the news. They have a weird cancellation policy. You have to wait 9 months after you cancel it to sign back up again. So there you go. You'll find out why only on News Time. And this is the end of the episode. Goodbye.